Well, I don't think I could have a channel called Just One Truth if I'm not willing to talk about meditation as well. It can be a slippery slope. I did a video about 2 years ago on it, but it was just answering somebody's question. It wasn't a very well thought out and it wasn't a very complete video. And recent conversation has caused me to kind of revisit it and think, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm going to approach this in my customary style of seeking for myself and just hitting it with critical thinking to the nth degree. We're going to pick it apart. And I'm going to say that as we move along, that meditation is, to me, it is, even though it is carried in spiritual and religious material, that if you really analyze it with critical thinking, it is actually a mental practice that has a purpose. So really, before I even start giving my own thoughts on it and going through this mind experiment that I'm talking about and looking at it and really analyzing what meditation is as a practice for ourselves and make our own decisions about it, what I want to do is state that this is incredibly important to some people in the world that you meditate. It's not even a question. You would not even say I don't meditate. I don't need to. There are people who are trained from birth, from childhood, that this is a part of your life. Like here in the West, people grow up with certain beliefs. Wherever you come from, you grow up with certain beliefs. And those beliefs have sometimes advantages and sometimes not. Meditation absolutely has an advantage to it. I definitely recommend it. However, this is where it gets dicey. As science learns and we can reason things through, I am absolutely convinced that we are very downstream products of a quantum field, and that this quantum field and the mixing and all of the things that are going on, that we are emergent from that, and that we are here. We get a chance for a life experience. One. And that meditation is important, but we need to understand it in that context. In some cases, that's not okay to some people because it's very tied to religious beliefs and spiritual beliefs. Of course, in years of experience, I'm very cognizant of this. I've been in those myself at times, going to meditation centers and trying to figure out what this is all about, try to learn it better, doing something. My cushion's not right. I can't get in the lotus position. Is it going to work for me? You really don't know what's going on. Of course, there's always the practices of going off on your own and, sitting along the seashore and things like that. We've all done that. We know that. We know that meditation is a private thing, and that going to a meditation center is just a way to kind of learn and to group people up, or to provide an opportunity to people in the city where maybe they don't have any quiet in their apartment living or something like that. Or a place just to get together of like-minded individuals that like to share the same belief system and getting together. It would be the same thing like a church getting together, a prayer group or something like that. Some people may want to do it, although they're motivated for different reasons. So I don't want to make a comparison between the two. Meditation and prayer are not the same thing. If you define meditation as clearing your mind and prayer as requesting God's good graces, that those are two different mental concepts completely. And then later on, as I analyze things, I see what is going on. And you know what? Let's go look at that. Let's go to our higher selves and look at planet Earth from out in space. Look at it, watch, see what's happening. See the dinosaurs come? They're there for a long time. They're even changing and evolving amongst them. They're there for so long. The original ones are gone, and the end ones are completely different than the first ones. Yeah. Look at that. Then there's there's mammals, there's a growth, and then humans come about. We see that happening. Then we see humans as animals coming about, and we see them evolving into groups on the plane like what we would see of the great apes. And what are they doing? Are they meditating? What they're doing is they are developing life that is functioning based in fear and joy. Joy, go that way. Fear, run away. That's how we survive. That is what is there in place. Fear and joy. And I think that is the very simple process right there that is going to factor in later into the myth and the religions, the good and the bad, the evil and all of that. All right. Well, as we watch this happen down there, what we realize is that this happens because the creature grows an organic programming of fear and joy. It begins to learn. Here's all the things to be afraid of. Here's all the things to be joyful of. Here's an area we don't know. We'll be careful. We'll have to go peek around the corner and see what's there maybe, and then figure it out later. Actually, you know what? The group has a small grouping of a brain type that will go check that out. What are they doing today? Wingsuiting, parachuting off of cliffs, things like that, really high risk sports. Yeah, there's still personalities that go, yeah, get out of my way, I'll check it out. All right, the big takeaway that I want from here is actually to realize and understand that the human functions through organic programming, neural pathways that grow, that are memories and emotions. That is being programmed. We are being programmed by our memories and the way we feel about those memories. And when we have a good handle on that, we know what to do and what not to do to survive. Those grow by putting time and attention to them. As you're focused on those in the environment, you learn about that. Whatever we focus on, we learn about. And, not just learn about, but we begin to mentally experience life in concert with what our head is focused on. Of course, we have to. They go hand in hand. To change the environment, we have to change the thinking, and that is so difficult. The Dhammapada, the Buddha. This is Buddha's verses. Verse number 1, the very first verse. I'm just going to read the first half. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. Okay, I'm going to stop right here and state right up front that I'm approaching this, if I haven't said already, that meditation is not a religious practice. It is a mental practice. Okay, everything we do and experience is from a level of mental. I mean, there's physical things happening. They're going to hurt, burn, things like that. But you know what? You're experiencing that because you can be aware of it, because you have a brain, because you have a mind. All right, I'm going to tell you a personal story. Take it as anecdotal. When I was born, my biological father was a drunk and abusive and smoked. And he would not go to work. He would come home. My mom would work and get tip money. He would come home and take her tip money and then disappear again. She began withholding the tip money. And what did he do? He went after her, and she toughed it out. So he came after us. And according to her, he would burn us with cigarette butts on arms and legs. My uncle said one time he came over and got us because Larry, my brother, and I had gone over. My mom took us over, and we had cigarette burns all over us. Yeah. So you know what? I have no memory of that. It affected me in life. It did. But I do not have any conscious recollection of that experience. I'm sure I screamed, cried. I'm sure it was painful. I got no memory of it. I was 6 months old. I don't have memory of anything from that age. Probably, 5 or so? Not until our brain develops enough do we really start experiencing. And before I get into it as well, I want to make sure everybody's aware of this, that when you're born, you have a brain type that you have no control over. The introversion, the extroversion, whether you're going to be idealized as an engineer or, something like that, a fighter or whatever, you're going to be born with those things. Those are different brain types. And you can see a difference of them in society. Then from that point, you take that brain type and put it in any environment, and it further becomes a product of that environment now. So there's a part of it that's fixed in the beginning, and then a part of it that is malleable, but is programmed based on the perceptions of that individual's life's experiences that they're living with and the emotional state of them. And I'm going to say quite honestly, this is nested right in Genesis, the 7-day creation story there. That story right there, that's the creation of me. When the earth is created, that is my life experience. That's me being born right there. And the consciousness and the subconscious, the Adam and Eve at day 7 are there, naked, unashamed in the garden. But in between, what happens? First, God names everything, and then Adam names everything. We have the sequence nested metaphorically, this very thing right here. And you can look at it and go, yeah, that's life. You show up with a certain brain type. They knew that. And then you became a product of your experiences. They knew that. And then you begin to have difficulty in life based on the consumption of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is what? Living life. Having bad things and good things happen. They're all metaphors. And we're not talking about that kind of stuff anyway. We're talking about the kind of things that hurt, that something happened long ago, and it still hurts, and I hate them. That's the kind of stuff. you're not touching anything hot anymore. It still hurts, doesn't it? That's that memory in place saying, remember that? Don't go there. Don't go there. You always remember this. However, what we don't know is that the danger that we needed to remember is now a danger we need to forget. It's a mental process. All right. What happens? Life gets busy. Look at today. Busy people, humans, they're doing a million things. You're not just looking for food and watching over your back. Maybe the time you feel good, when would you meditate? When would you feel good? When you're sitting up on a hilltop watching the sunset, your belly is full, your family's happy, and you can look all around and everything is safe. There's water, there's more food, there's nothing to worry about for that moment right there. That's what you live for. But it's fleeting. It doesn't stay, does it? No. That's what we're looking for, that moment of glory, that moment of, everything is okay. In fact, what I'm going to contend before we get into meditation and what it is to understand that there's a goal. What is a goal for us in life? Is meditation going to be something that helps us achieve that goal? The goal is what? It's put in many different ways. The Buddha would say nirvana. That's a state of inner peace, of inner joy. We know that. It's put in different ways and different material. Jesus would say the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of heaven within. He says it in both ways. Within kind of tells you right there what he's talking about. If we go to Aristotle and the Nicomachean Ethics, it's a long teaching that really gets into the idea of what is the best thing in life. And after he gets through the entire teaching, it really comes down to this. The greatest good in life is a high eudaimonia, a high quality of life, happiness, and inner peace. You do a lot of things in life to look for inner peace, but if you have inner peace, you don't stop and go, how do I fix this? You just live it. You're going, I got inner peace. That's the goal right there. Okay, so in a big picture for the human down there, what I see that they're doing is they're afraid of things that they don't want to re-experience again. They feel joy about things that they do want to experience again. And when they're happy, they feel contented. And when they're not happy, they feel in turmoil. And that if they're it would be a good reason for them to not let go of this emotional pain. Like I said earlier, that it is so dangerous. This is no joke. It's not because somebody, did something to you. That kind of stuff is probably forgotten or taken care of in the tribe in a different way. That doesn't matter. What we have to do is learn to take personal responsibility. All of the material talks about that. The only way you can take a path to inner healing is for you to take the path to your memories. That's the only way it works. Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching says right off the bat, the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. Yeah, the eternal Tao is only taken. It's only a personal path. Not until then is it real. Okay, so what I see that human has this basic idea, these emotions here are fear of that. Yeah, be afraid of it. Never forget it. Always remember that that's danger. This is good. Always remember that's good. When I'm somewhere where I don't feel in danger and everything is satisfied in the moment, then that is the good feeling that I'm looking for. That right there is the balance. That's the in-between that we're looking for of the extremes. We don't want to be afraid. And feeling joy is okay, but if you continue to feel joy, eventually that becomes a new norm. And in order to feel more joy, you have to find something bigger and better. So there's a point where you have to kind of relax and chill, and experience life instead of keep trying to do what you want to. Do what makes you happy as long as you're not hurting other people. All right. So what I see happening ultimately is that the human brain becomes this really busy network all the time that's happening, and your consciousness is kind of along for the ride. It's supposed to be in charge, but at some point it's got so much stuff packed in there that's trying to come out that it's like, well, I got a bunch of stuff in here. I don't even know what's going on, and you don't know what's going on. It's the memories and the emotional states. It's just all piled up in there. Now, meditation, with its practices, the physical, all that, I'm not even going to get into that part. That's a part of the religion itself if you were to follow Buddhism. But if you're going through the mental practice and watching the breath, watching things come, what you're doing is you're taking your mind, and people struggle with doing this. You're supposed to quiet the mind or to stop. You really can't stop thinking. It's hard to turn it off. But there is a point where you can slow down all of the turmoil that comes in. That's what you're trying to do. What you're doing is you're focusing on your breath. You don't just sit there not doing anything. You sit there and focus on your breathing because it's always there with you, number one. And number two, it doesn't have a story to it. There's no emotion, it's good, bad, anything like that. You just, as it comes, and watch it go. Now, I'm going to contend that that is actually the way, that's a cyclical procedure. It's a cyclical process. You're watching something come, you watch it go. We're supposed to do the same thing in Buddha's teaching with the things that act out of us. Instead of being a part of it, stop, get outside of it, watch it emerge, watch it disappear. And in the act of doing this, a number of times you begin to realize this is just something acting out, and you begin to let it go. So the breathing is all a good part of that as well. And the meditation is designed to create a space in your mind that is quiet, that you can go to and that you can function within. What I'm going to suggest is that it's different for different people, and there are people that have medical reasons or other kind of reasons that they need to do this, so I'm not addressing them. I don't go to meditation centers and I don't meditate, but here is what I do. I am constantly in the outdoors solo, by myself. I'm out alone. I have spent so many hours out there, and I still routinely, well, it gets kind of hot in the summertime, but I go out and hike and get up into the mountains, and there's always places where my mind is naturally quiet. I'm not in the city where things are constantly going and I have no way to escape or anything like that. I'm very quick to just being out by myself all the time. So I do meditate without going through the Buddha meditation sit this way kind of practice. There's walking meditation. Meditation, again, is a mental practice. All right, now I don't know if this is normal for everybody. I think it is for the people who are really the feelers that are kind of this way, that we're kind of sensitive to that energy field. And that it's almost like if you are, this is a difficult call right here. If you're like someplace where it's too bright, it's too obtrusive. I don't like things that are too intense. I like soft and, nature colors, things like that. Sound, same thing. I don't like loud. I don't like, staccato impact of Harley engines and things like that, booming 10 miles up in the canyon walls, up in the mountains. It's ridiculous noise. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is it? Obtrusive. I like things soft and gentle and quiet. So I also find that I move away from things like that, but I also find that if I am around people, around large groups, I feel more intense. It feels totally normal, actually. What I actually feel is that when I get away from the city, I feel kind of a relief, like, whoa, whew. Oh, it feels quiet out here. I like it. It's like, to me, it's almost like if like everybody is putting out a little bit of emotional energy, and in a big group like that, it's just a big blend. There's nothing really going on. You're just floating all over the place. You can get into groups where people are focused on one thing and really amp up the energy right there. But that all of this is just within and back into and of the quantum field, that it's literally there, so that this emotional field is also there, and it's there for a reason. It's not very visible. It's hard to interact with. You sense it by getting away from it. So it was sitting in a meditation center was never relaxing to me, but going up into the mountains and watching a sheep on the next peak, yeah, that was. To me, what has been more important than anything for my life was to resolve the issues that I had with me. Meditation was never something that was active. It was like taking aspirin for me, in a way. And there are people that would say, you do it all the time. There's people that are, there's monks that do this for a lifetime. They do it hours a day. I got other stuff to do. I don't want to do that. That wouldn't make me happy. If it makes them happy, that's okay. But it's not going to make me happy to force myself to sit there for long periods of time trying to clear my mind. I like to learn. I'm discovering. I'm having a great time. So to me, meditation is for what? There could be a purpose in it. And if you need to do it, the reason is because it's a mental practice. If you have other options, walking meditation, quiet, peaceful places you can get out to, then that's fine. The bigger issue is things like, I got molested one time and I hate the bastard that did that. You know what I have to do? I have to forgive that bastard. Do I want to do that? No. But guess what? As long as I'm holding this hatred up here, that is what is acting out in the unified field that is creating my life. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It doesn't freaking matter. I could have been hurt all day long. If I can't let it go, I'm going to continue to experience that emotional pain. So it becomes incredibly important, instead of meditating, is to turn and aggressively go after the stuff that hurts you. And pretty soon, not pretty soon, it takes a while. It hurts. Then there's a growth period. Then something else bothers. You go in after that. That what happens eventually is that you just go, you know what? I'm achieving that where I just feel good. I don't have to have a frazzled day and then get 30 minutes to meditate at the end of the day. All day long I can go, and I don't have to sit down to do it. I can be out in life. I can be doing things. So meditation is incredibly important, but it's incredibly important to understand that it's a mental process, that all of this is, and that meditation may or may not be good for you. There are people that I know that love doing it so much they would criticize me right now and say, yeah, that's just, I hate it when the center's closed, and you're like, well, that sounds kind of stressful, actually, Anyway, okay, that's what I wanted to say about it. It is incredibly important. It is a mental process. And what you're doing is creating space, and you're trying to do that. But, I mean, if anybody came up to me and said, I've got these problems, I don't know how to handle them, I'm not the person to say, well, do this. I'm the person that would say, you know what? You have to forgive the pain, whether you're the perpetrator or somebody else was. That is the origin right there. There was something that happened between you and somebody else, and there is a remaining perception that makes you feel a certain way, which creates the emotion, which creates the continuation. That is the seed that is planted that continues to grow over and over again. And the only way to pull that seed out is you can never change what happened. You have to change how you feel about what happened, which changes the state that it is, which changes the way that it acts out. Remembering, forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. If you've done it correctly, the other person's off the hook. But if you're trying to let the other person off the hook without realizing it's the way you're holding that memory, the forgiveness will never happen. Forgiveness happens at the level of, okay, I no longer have the emotional connection to that. And the reason I don't isn't about that person. It's because I'm not carrying that anymore. I'm dropping that stuff. Or, however it is. I kind of get a little animated there. I was given something that I was just born into. And I have to find a way to get out of it. Meditation is a wonderful thing. The times that I did meditate were when I was in job environments and things where I couldn't escape. And it was in a small location where I, for a long period of time, it was like, you don't go anywhere. Anyway, I guess those are my thoughts on it. For everybody that meditates for spiritual or religious reasons, I think that I think a lot of PTSD soldiers are taught to meditate because it helps calm their minds. They've had to do horrific things. They can't be, it's done. How do you let that go? It's a difficult process. But anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Meditation is mental. It creates space. But if you heal everything that's there, if you remove the mote from your eye, then everything will be clear anyway. You will have a higher quality of life, a higher eudaimonia. You will achieve an inner peace because you are no longer carrying the baggage that is actually from inside of you, creating the mental turmoil that we put on a smile and don't let anybody see. It's all good. It's all good. Meanwhile, we're tore up. We do that. The only way to fix it in your head is to say, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm going after it. And that won't feel good either. So your choice is to either go after it, go through the healing process, knowing that when you emerge, it'll feel better, or just continue to experience life the way it is, trying to meditate or something like that, which gives you kind of a soft sell way around a more aggressive process. I took the aggressive way. I didn't know that at first, but that's what the material teaches. If you can get that stuff off your chest right there, boom, change the emotions. Yeah, you know what? You're coming from a mass of people down there. You're just one person. Stop being a victim. You emerged. You're making it. Rejoice. But then, people are in environments where they're being hurt routinely. and can't get out, don't have ways out. And I don't know how to speak to that. I can only say that I was fortunate in all the things that I had to go through in life, that there were avenues that continued to kind of emerge before me. So just paths you take. Anyway, okay, that's all I wanted to say on meditation. And most of it had nothing to do with it, did it? You look at the big picture and go, okay, yeah, meditation is a small thing in a big picture. And it's a mental process. Now you look at it and go, what is important for me? What do I need to do? Do I need to meditate or not? If it's good for you, do it. Do it, do it, do it. If you got something else going on and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't feel good. I feel like I'd rather be out mountain bike riding. Go mountain bike ride. Don't stop and meditate. If you're having fun out there and you're going, this is my joy, go experience the joy. The more you experience that joy, the more you become that. You're constantly wiring the neural pathways. When you're sitting there stewing about something that happened long ago, you're wiring it stronger and stronger and stronger. The more you worry about it, the more you focus on it, the bigger it gets. That has to stop. We don't know that. Nobody teaches us that. But here's where you use that critical thinking process, though, and go back in time into an evolving creature. And you realize that what is happening in the mind is actually based on a structure that is evolved in. There's a memory and a fear that we're operating with that used to be there to keep us from getting eaten and is there preventing us from being happy. Nothing's going to eat us, but it feels like it. That's how strong it is. I honestly could not overcome it with strength at all, mental strength at all. I had to logic my way through it until I realized it's a mechanism and I'm in charge of it. I have to reprogram it. It feels different then. That's why I handle it the way I do, though. But it's all psychology. At the end of the day, what is enlightenment? It's like talking to your shrink until there's not one thing left in you that bothers you. You're just like, I let it all go. There you go. It's a mental process. Now, the Pali Canon is huge. This is a very small book. Buddhism is a monster. I don't have it, but I've got the Mahabharata. That's about 12 volumes over there, and it's small compared to the Buddha material. But this is his pivotal work. This in the Dhammapada, the basic verses. It would be like if you read all through Christianity and go, you know what? Let's just go listen to the Sermon on the Mount or the Sermon on the Plain. That would be what this is equivalent to. All that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, pain follows him as the wheel follows the foot of the ox that draws the carriage. Now, this is all analogous. We're supposed to figure it out. I am this story. I am the ox that draws the carriage. The wheel is following me. Around and around it goes. There's a cycle. Pain is there. The evil thought, oh, what happened? This is something you're holding inside that is not resolved. Think about it. I hate it. I hate this person. I hate having to deal with this. I feel shame over this. Whatever that is, that's the evil thought. Whatever is derogatory to your end goal, which is happiness, nirvana, inner peace. So as long as that stuff is in place, it continues to come around, but it's a mental process. Then in the second one, he says, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts. It is made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with pure thought, resolving all of that, happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. You find that's what you're looking for, getting rid of everything. What does Jesus start with? Blessed are the poor in spirit. What's a spirit? Spirit's what's acting in the background. Make it poor, emptiness, poor. They're all getting to the same place, and that's that inner healing. Meditation is fine. And there are people that don't have issues that have to meditate because something chemically or mentally or something else is going on. And I don't speak to any of that. I have no business in that department. So please don't anybody hold my feet to the fire there. I'm only talking about my view of what I see this basically is. So, okay, for a video on meditation, yeah, meditation's a mental process, isn't it? We got that. I don't have to keep repeating that. We can see what is happening and that we're ultimately looking for a goal, and that meditation is a tool, one of a number of tools that is viable. If meditation is something you love doing and you like going to the centers and meeting with people and things like that, I absolutely encourage it. Most people meditate on their own from their homes, putting on maybe some noise canceling headphones if they need to, or if they live in the country out in the, out sitting out on listening to the birds sing or the babbling brook or things like that. If you have those options, just getting out and going away to meditate on a regular basis every day, you would have a place in your home to do it typically, and a place where you've got your own little setup and a timer or something like that. I think that there are people that do that find it very beneficial to them, but I think that they might mistakenly say that because it's beneficial to me, then it must be beneficial to everybody. I think if what they're trying to do is to achieve happiness and inner peace, then that is what you're doing. And if sitting there and watching your breath for long periods of time is what brings you inner peace, then I say absolutely do that. It does not do it for me. I do know that when it was important, it was because I had issues that were unresolved and I needed help living with them. The meditation helped create a channel in my mind that was kind of like, this is the quiet, peaceful place I could go step to. And as we interpret the material, what we actually learn is that God and all of the elements there feature in the story, they're a part of our higher awareness, that part that we can get to that resides outside of the way we feel our emotions. There's a logical part of us that we can all get to that kind of looks at things from outside, knows what to do, but then we get sucked right back into the consciousness and feeling the experience. I've learned to go to that higher place. So that's what I do if I need to. That higher self is an instant place to go to. The meditation is something that is not a part of my life as far as taking the time to sit down and do the breathing and the watching the breath and whatnot. I do, however, meditate, because if you classify meditation as a mental process that it has to do with clearing the mind, then yes, I absolutely do meditate. I don't do it in the conventional way. And I think that's what a lot of people have problems with. They wonder, am I supposed to go sit down and be quiet and sit in the lotus position and hold my hands a certain way and all of that in order for it to be effective? And I'm going to say, what is it? A mental process. You got a lot of ritual to go through. What really works? All right, hope the video was helpful and informative. And again, this is just an example of thinking things through on our own and going, yeah, what's going on there? And realizing that for some people it's incredibly important, but it's not a game breaker on life. It really isn't. Just think it through. All right, see you in the next video.